What's up, guys? This is Quasar. Welcome to episode number 3 of the DIY electric Cr80 conversion. So today we're going to strip everything down and clean it up, get it ready for paint. We will be polishing all the aluminum. We'll be taking everything apart, prepping it, and we'll be moving forward from there. Now that we've got the bike disassembled, this is where the fun starts. Some pretty nasty looking stuff over here. We're not gonna be able to do anything for those wheels, but we're gonna go ahead and get that shot clean, the brakes, the swinger. We'll polish up these triple clamps. We're gonna put new pegs on. It's gonna get new plastics too. We'll clean the forks up, polish the aluminum in there, get the caliper sorted, and yeah, we'll be prepping for paint right after that. We're gonna start on the rear shock first. Quick tip. You've got a spring nut, the locking nut that won't come off. Get yourself a good size flathead. Put it sideways in the groove there, so you're not hitting straight down on it, you're hitting it sideways like you're trying to spin it off. Go ahead and smack that with a hammer, and that'll usually do the trick. One of these is good too, but sometimes when these are really tight, this ain't gonna cut it. In order to get the spring off so we can clean the shock up, you wanna loosen these all the way to the top. That way this has some play, and you can pull out the spacer that goes in here, and there's little shims that go in there, and hold it into place. You're gonna wanna push the spring down. And there's a couple little spacers in here that have to come out. Take your flathead, pop them up. They're just basically split washers. And once you get those out, voila, spring comes right out. We can clean this up with some solvent and take it to the wire wheel. Alright, so to reinstall the spring, make sure that these are all the way down. It's going to help major. You can take these split washers and reinstall them like this. If you have the spring all the way down, it's effortless. Push them back up, tighten this up, at least enough to hold the spring in there so those split washers don't fall out. Alright. Now, apart from putting a new spring and a new washer here, actually rebuilding the shock completely, this is how you clean one up, make it look good. The wire wheel does a lot of work for you. I do some things ghetto in my shop, and this is one of them. This is awesome. I use this because it's got very low speed, which is much safer on a wire wheel, and it actually works just as good, if not better sometimes, because it cuts a little deeper. Slower RPM doesn't fling these at you and stick them in your skin. So that's always a bonus. So we've got almost everything polished up. It all looks pretty good, about as good as it's gonna get for such an old bike. But we were able to get that swing arm looking good again. All the calipers, the triple clamps, the forks, the shock looks really good. Yeah, so the next step is going to be to clean up the frame, get it degreased, pressure wash it, let it dry, put a coat of primer on it, and go ahead and paint it tomorrow. Yo, so we just picked up this awesome fully restored Cr80. I actually traded one of my milling machines for it. It's a pretty sweet trade if you ask me. I am going to do the bolt-on Cr80 kit in this roller. It's gonna be the perfect candidate for it, I think. And it's already finished and restored, so I'm not gonna have to do any of that extra work. It's gonna be awesome. Stay tuned, you guys. This is gonna be a fun build. I think I'm gonna do this after the 150R. Which we're coming up on soon. The Cr80 that we're doing for electro&co with the QS120 is on the rack drying. It's been drying for about 24 hours now. The paint's come out real good. Yeah, we did a nice layer primer before we hit that with the MRO black high solids. And then the battery tray, decided to go red with that. So I think what I'm gonna do is front and rear plastics are gonna be red, and then the rest of the plastics are gonna be black. I think that's gonna make the color look really good. We're gonna do a black seat cover. We may do these red Turner bars or the black ones. I'm not 100% sure yet, whichever ones look better. But I'll just put whatever ones we don't use on the 80 because it's gonna be red frame with black plastics, and then everything's gonna be polished out. We're gonna keep the wheels the same color and all that. But yeah, stay tuned because the 150R is coming up next. And then, I think then, we're gonna be doing this one next after that. So we're gonna be doing bolt-on kits for both of these. So it's gonna be our production kit. I mean, I might have to refine it a little bit, but you know, it's gonna be the beginnings of the production kit that I'll be selling on the website for the 150R and for the Cr80 or 85, since they're all pretty much the same. Doesn't matter if it's big wheel or small wheel. One thing I am on the fence about though is if I'm gonna keep this bike. I do plan on keeping the 150R as a bike that people can ride for just, you know, basically just a trial ride, check it out, for people who come up here that wants to ride it. I'm obviously keeping my big bike, which I haven't showed you guys yet, which I'm going to soon because it's not quite done. Unfortunately, I didn't do a build video on it, but I'm gonna do like a pictorial like walkthrough. It's gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, let me know. Do you think I should keep the 80 small wheel just to have it? Because I mean, we do have the 150R big wheel, but I kind of like both versions. The small wheel is more of a pit bike. I could take this out in the open class and smash, you know, and the 150R, there's not really a class for it, I don't think. At least not one that I've raced before or even played around with. I'm gonna use it as a trail bike and as a demo. But if I keep this as a demo, then you guys can ride it if you want. Try it out, that'll be pretty cool. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys think I should keep this bike or if I should let it go to some lucky guy. Let me know, stay tuned. Paint's been drying for 48 hours. Now it's time to start putting the bike back together.
What do you want, son? In life. What you are.
We're working on cutting the tank here. If you're good and careful, you can use a razor blade. You just want to score it and then just follow that score line over and over again until it goes all the way through. And then if you do the corners, you can brace yourself. Don't put your thumb in the way. You can shave the corners around. But yeah, we're gonna get this other side cut here and then we're gonna test fit the tank. All right, I'm gonna try to show you one-handed. It doesn't actually take a lot of pressure. You just follow your score line. Go over it several times and it will get deeper and deeper every time. And I'm doing this one-handed, so you can probably do it two-handed. Just don't cut yourself. This is probably the last one. Yep, it's all the way through. All right. Now we're gonna come over to the lathe. We need to make some spacers for the swing arm bolt. That way when we tighten that swing arm bolt, it doesn't compress the swing arm and bend things. It needs to have some resistance in the middle so everything can clamp together and the bearings actually work versus them just floating around. We're gonna turn this down a little bit. It's 1 inch diameter. We're gonna take it down to about 3/4, and we need 2.22 inches and then a 0.22 inch spacer separate. So we're gonna go ahead and run this.
What do you want, son? In life. Shot at the title.
gonna go ahead and measure this hole and put this into millimeters. And we're gonna need a 14 millimeter hole. Give it a little bit of extra room to wiggle around. So we're gonna go with a 13 millimeter bit. And then right after that, we will use a 14 millimeter reamer to ream out the hole to the final diameter. So let's get this set up.
What you after?
We're going to go ahead and measure over 0.22 inches. We'll put it on the caliper first. Oh, we're going to have to change that to inches. That might help. So we'll get 2.2. And then we'll lock it in. We'll go ahead and put this over here. Take our razor blade and give it a little scribe right there. Right there, that's what we want right there. Okay, we'll be able to see that. We're gonna take that off, and then just after we'll take off our 2.22. So let's go ahead and put a separator on this. All right, now we have our parting tool and our tool post, and it's lined up with our little mark we made. Now to turn it off. The harness that I have from the Noisy Cricket controller, I think this was for a razor or something smaller, because normally these harnesses are a bit longer. I actually don't have the length to reach my controls. This was a prototype. I got it ahead of time before anybody else did, so yeah, I'm sure that their other production models will have longer harness leads, but everything's plug and play. It's super simple. All the plugs are different, so you can't get them mixed up. I'll show you the controller wiring. It's pretty simple. I know it looks like crazy, but it's actually really simple. You have a battery negative, a battery positive over here, this red wire, and you have yellow, blue, and green phase wires. It's really easy to wire up. I usually just coil these up unless I'm doing a real high powered build. If I do that, then I'll clip them and relug them. That way I can get the lowest resistance out of the wires I can. But the rest of everything just plugs right up. All the plugs are different, so you can't mix them up. It's pretty intuitive, really easy. This is the hall sensor plug. This would be the voltage meter plug. This is the on and off switch, the green and black. And this is your throttle with the three-way switch in there. This is just the basic kit. They have a couple different options for you. You can get the Sur-on throttle or the better throttle. I don't usually run these, but they're nifty. I like my own gauges. And then this is the power switch for the bike. The fitment's nice. The battery tray is fantastic. I love it. And for being a let's say a functional versus a fancy build, I think it came out pretty nice. there's the spacers that we did right there on the lathe, and then this is the front of the battery tray, and it just fits in there nice and snug. The motor mounting is perfect. The chain right now is pretty much perfect tightness, and when I go through the suspension travel, it actually doesn't get tighter or looser. It's perfect. So I got really lucky on that mounting. I've done a lot of them, so I know where the sprocket needs to be, but I mean, that does help, but I still get lucky sometimes, and sometimes I have to reposition. The controller came out nice. I like the way it's mounted. You can't really tell that those are bolts with washers welded onto them. It kind of just looks like it goes there. Yeah, all in all, picture that with some brand new wheels, a nice seat, maybe some decals on the tank. I'm not sure what power levels they're going to be running this at. I'm pretty sure it's for a young man, so I'll leave that up to them. But the bike's refurbished as much as I can, minus the wheels, and we'll be taking it out to Electroland shortly. Alright guys, so I've pretty much done everything I'm going to be able to do on this build. Like I said prior, the customer is probably going to do new wheels. They're going to have to put the brake levers on and do the lines, because I don't have those. I threw one of my seats on here that I had laying around just for pictures. That way it doesn't look silly. But yeah, so this is how it looks. The battery tray looks nice. The frame came out beautiful. The slack in the chain stays consistent throughout the travel of the suspension, so that's really nice. The controller looks like it lived there before we put it there, so that looks good. Yeah. And I did test it, and everything runs well. The motor runs smooth. They just got the motor option for the 120 in the app, so yeah, that was very nice and smooth running. Worked out nicely. I'm gonna send this over to Electro&Co and let them put the finishing touches on it, and get it to the customer, and they can put the brakes on. And like, I really hope they put new wheels on here. I sandblasted around the edges. It just ate up too much material and took way too much time, so I wasn't going to do the rest of the wheel, especially because this front wheel is got a huge dent in it, and I mean, they're tossed. You know, $400 or $500, you can get a brand new set of wheels with billet hubs and all that fancy business, or you can go on eBay and probably get wheels and tires as a combo used that are in nicer condition for probably $200-300. That's what I'd recommend. I wouldn't see the point of building the bike up and leaving those puppies on there. But yeah, she came out good. I really like the way the battery tray cradles the battery. Everything fit in real smooth putting it back together. The spacer in there that we did, that came out real nice. Fits in there nice and perfect. You know, for how old this is, it came out pretty good. I could have spent a lot more time on the aluminum on the swinger and scotch-brighted it out and even further. It's just, it's old, it's beat. I'd have to polish that thing down a lot, you know, so I just kind of take it to where I think it's good enough, and yeah, just leave it from there. I mean, if I had a customer that wanted me to refurbish a bike really, really nice, and it was, you know, then I'd spend a little extra time there, but all that you see there is pretty much pitting. You got some grease on there from me grabbing, I'll wipe that off, but I mean, anything else on there is pitting, and you know, that'd have to be sanded down real deep into the swinger, and you know, it's just not really worth the effort and the time and the money it costs to do that on something like this. But she's gonna be a beautiful bike. They're gonna get a new seat cover with this. They have the seat, so I'll include the cover. They didn't have a tank, so I gave them one of my extra tanks. And new bars, new grips, the E and C kit, of course. The forks have been done. I took those out, made sure that the fluid is fresh. I didn't actually have to change the fork seals. They were really in good condition. I just cleaned them out, so we got no leaks. It's nice and smooth there. The bearings in the front wheel were good. The bearings in the rear wheel were good. The swing arm bearings were changed. The bearings in the linkage are fine, and the upper shock are fine, so that all just worked out nicely. The stem bearings were good. I pulled those out, cleaned them out, and re-greased them. Apart from that, she's ready to rip. you know, they get their seat on there and I plug in the wiring harness and she's ready to go. My dog's over here snoring. Bowser, Bowser. Beautiful guy. And Ferguson up here. Fergie. And Bowser. I'm really excited to get onto this next project. It's a 2007 CRF 150RB. I'm going to be using this bike to develop the bolt-on kit that I'll be selling on my website for this bike. I believe it's from 2007 all the way up to 2022. So yeah, that being said, please like, subscribe, and share this video, and stay tuned for more content. Brett's on board.